Hello, and welcome to another episode of Asian Pacific Voices Radio, where you'll find stimulating conversations that explore diverse topics and stories impacting our Asian Pacific American communities. I'm your host, Rasha Goal, and today I'm very excited to speak to a very special guest. She's an Emmy-winning actress, activist, and storyteller whose incredible journey has shaped the American entertainment landscape for over 5 decades. From debuting on Broadway at just 7 years old to starring in hit films like SHANG-CHI and The Legend of the Ten Rings, my guest has defied stereotypes and carved out space for Asian American voices in Hollywood. She is currently the SAG-AFTRA Los Angeles local president, also a fierce advocate for equity, representation, and performer rights in the face of evolving industry challenges like AI and ageism. Please join me in welcoming Miss Jodi Long on Asian Pacific Voices Radio. Jodi, thank you for being here.
Well, thanks for inviting me. So much fun.
It's such a pleasure. My gosh, so much to talk to you about, such a legacy behind you. So let's go and talk about your extraordinary career on stage, on screen, behind the mic. Now, you grew up with parents who were also in the arts and dancing and vaudeville. So how did that influence your sense of identity and creativity as a child?
Well, I just grew up literally backstage. My parents were vaudevillians to start, and that most people don't even know what that is anymore. But then they transferred over into nightclubs. So I literally was growing up backstage in all the shows. So it just was the most natural thing for me, people dancing. I mean, in those days, in the Asian American clubs, there were not just dancers and singers, but there were strippers. So, it was part of vaudeville. So I'd see these girls taking off their clothes, and then they'd, you remember those little cutout dolls that you would cut out the paper clothes?
Yes.
And I thought, I used to love to do that. And I just remember one of them just loving to cut all my paper clothes out of the book. And I think that's so weird that she's always taking her clothes up, but she wants to put clothes on my dolls. So, when you're a child, that's your life. And so that's how it affected me. So it was completely normal, where to most people it's not normal.
Right.
And the singers and the dancers and the waitresses used to take care of me. I could watch the first show, but then I'd have to go in the back and go to sleep. So they would take care of me during the show. So anyway.
So the stage was your life. Okay, for our audience members who don't know what vaudeville is, how can you briefly describe vaudeville to them?
Well, vaudeville was the beginning of theater. I mean, yes, it was Shakespeare all the way before that, but there was a time when immigrants, so there really were immigrants. So the father of vaudeville was Eddie Foy, and he was Irish and came from Ireland, or his family did, and that was the way to make money. It was easier to make money that way than by selling, bread on the corner, right, in New York City. I'm being really serious. So people thought, well, I can sing a little bit and I can tell a couple of jokes, and maybe I can make more money doing that. And that's what vaudeville really was. So it was really a variety show of people doing very many different things, not just singing and dancing, but telling jokes and taking their clothes off. And, so that's what I grew up in. And, even still to this day, I run into people that worked with my parents, and they're quite
Oh,
old now and became actors, started as singers, and then they become actors. And I just ran into Sab Shimono. I don't know if you know him, but he's an actor and did a lot of movies, a lot of plays. And I played his daughter once, and then I played sort of his nemesis in another play. So I just ran into him at East West Players, at Yankee Dog You Die, which just finished. That was written by Phil Katanda. So anyway, it's a long legacy and a big family that I've grown up with over all these years. And even the children of the vaudevillians that my parents used to work with, I'm still in touch with,
that
because we
is
all grew up in it. So.
that is special, Jodi. I think that is very special. Now, I understand from in an article that you had once mentioned that you originally did not intend to go into acting. So what changed your mind? I understand there was a high school performance that maybe helped create that pivot for you.
Well, I ended up going, I always doing theater, even in junior high school. I played Dolly Levi in Hello Dolly because I had that whatever and they cast me. But I ended up going to performing arts high school and I really wasn't going to become an actor, even though I got in as an actor. I really wanted to lose my Queen's accent so I could become a lawyer and go to Harvard. That was my
Oh.
initial thing. And in New York City, there's specialized high schools. So I auditioned or applied for Bronx High School of Science, which was for the really brainy kids. And I got in there and I got into performing arts. And I thought, well, for me to get into this is, I'm a 16-year-old thinking like this. Who knew? I thought, well, if I go to Bronx High School of Science, I may not get into Harvard because I won't be graduating in the top 10. This is the
Ooh,
way I thought. And
okay.
so I thought I went to performing arts high school, I would graduate in the top 10 and be able to get into Harvard. So I did graduate in the top 10 in my school, but I literally decided in my junior year or whatever year it was, and I did Splendor in the Grass, which was a movie that most people don't know now, but it starred Warren Beatty and Natalie Wood. And it really affected me so much, that movie, that when all of a sudden I was given the scene to play Natalie Wood's part, I fell in love with acting. And that was the end of that. My mother and my father were like, "What? You're going to Harvard to become a lawyer."
You're like, I don't know anymore.
I don't think
What
so.
was it about it? You said it really impacted you. What about it impacted you so much?
Well, in that scene, Deanie has a fight with her mother because she's been out with this guy that she's in love with, and she gets accused of, she's not a virgin, and she's like, "A virgin? What are you talking, Mom?" And she gets really upset. And at the time, I was having problems with my mother, and I just all channeled through, and it was very emotional for me, and it was not planned. That was the thing. It was just sort of happened. And I thought, oh my God, this is so much fun.
I love it. I love, see, we never know where the path takes us, right, Jody?
Never
It's
know.
the journey. It's the journey. Well, and speaking of
Absolutely.
journey, from All American Girl to Shang-Chi, you've played some really, really groundbreaking, you've been a part of some groundbreaking AAPI projects. So how would you say you've seen the industry evolve when it comes to representation? And with your current involvement too, what still needs to be changed?
Well, I think it has really changed a lot, do you know? Because when I was first starting, all I was playing were newscasters, Connie Chung and all those gals. And my father wanted me to become a newscaster at one point. He was like, "Well, you could make more money doing this." And I said, "But I'm not doing that." I was pretty determined about what I was going to do and what I wasn't going to do. But to go back to your question, I think that there's a lot more opportunity now for younger Asian American actors. I mean, obviously, so I've played everybody's mother. The only person I haven't played the mother has been Sandra Oh. I
I
mean,
think she's been playing mom too, right?
now, but I originally played Margaret's mother, and she was 25 then, and I
Yeah.
think I don't know how old I was. I was in my 40s at the time, only about 15 years older than her. But um, and then I went on to play Lucy's mom in a show, and Aquafina's in Shang-Chi. And I mean, so many other, and Midori Francis, I played her grand aunt in Dash and Lily that I won the Emmy for. But so, I feel like I'm everyone's mother. And my mother was pretty tough. She was Japanese American. And so, and she went through the internment camps and stuff. So she was pretty tough, but she had a lot of joy to her as well. So I think that when I play these mothers, I really understand those tough Asian mothers, right? And I think that's
Yeah.
actually makes for good comedy, and also there's a reality to those tiger moms.
I love it. Well, and listen, Jody, I'm going to give a quick shout out to All American Girl because I know that show was so pivotal,
Oh yeah.
just for the Asian American community. And I've spoken to Margaret about it too before. And we were like, it'd be fun to see a different version of that come back now too, because times have changed so much. And it would be kind of cool, to see what kind of a storyline we could create around it. So that had a huge impact, I think, on the community and just people all around.
Well, you're a producer, so
Yeah, right. And by the way, I do play newscaster too. So I was laughing when you were saying that on TV sometimes. But now let's talk about your daytime Emmy for Best Supporting Actress. You made history as the
yeah.
first Asian American to win that. What did that recognition mean to you personally and professionally?
Well, I wasn't expecting it because we did the show and then COVID happened, and then the show premiered during COVID, and it was like a year later that I just got nominated, and I had no idea. The producer called me and said, "You're nominated." I was like, "What?" And he was nominated, and Midori was nominated, and so we had, I think, 10 nominations, and we won three. And we thought, wow, I didn't not know I was the first Asian American woman or man to win an acting award. It was the Academy that put that, the Television Academy that put it out on a tweet. And I saw it and I thought, I called my publicist and I said, "Excuse me, can you just check this? Because I don't want to be retweeting fake news." I was like, what are they
So
talking
true.
about? And it was because, and I've forgotten her name now, but she was on The Good Wife. She's South Asian actress who won best supporting actor in that show. I've forgotten her name. It'll come
Me
back to me.
too. I'm seeing the
And
face, but I
yeah,
can't
I see your
picture
face
her
too.
name right now.
So I said, "Well, excuse me, isn't she the first Asian?" I just assumed she was American. I didn't really think about it. And they came back and they said, "No, actually, she's British. So you are
That's
the first
right.
Asian American." And
Wow.
for me, it was, I get a little teary about it because it was unexpected. And I think after all these years being in this business and breaking down whatever barriers there were, that even just to get a job in the theater, when I would go up for, a part and say, "I'm here to play Juliet," and they'd go, "Oh, well, we're not doing it that way." And I'd say, "What way?" I mean, I was a young actress, I was like 24 years old. So I've been fighting that fight for a long time. And so now I think it's so much better. I get a little worried that with the climate that's happening right now in this country, that it's people are going to turn away from that. I don't think the industry so much, but because I think the Television Academy and the Motion Picture Academy, and I know SAG-AFTRA, we have always been a proponent of inclusion for everyone. So I know that it's not us, but it's going to be more the money people maybe going, "Well, wait a second, we don't know." I don't know. I'm hoping that's not the case, but I do feel that I'm sorry. This is my dog. If you're hearing anything, he's whining.
Oh, we have a little
He's
friend visiting
he's a
today.
little he's a little whiner, and I'm just going to pick him up so you can see him.
Oh,
And
beautiful.
uh,
What is this cutie's little name?
his name is Boo Boo Ganesh.
Boo Boo
Because
Ganesh. Oh,
yes, because he's a remover of obstacles, like the
the Indian god Ganesh, who I'm very familiar
Ganesha.
with.
Yes, yes, you are. So anyway, so hopefully, he's just looking for food. Okay, so I'm going back to what we were talking about. What were we talking about? So
Just
the
about the continuation, and the
yeah,
representation.
yeah, and I think it is so much easier for them to Asian American women at least and men to get lead parts now in these
Yeah.
movies because they're looking for the diversity, and I'm like, geez, I wish this was 30 years younger, but That's okay. I'll play the old lady. It's all right.
Well, you look amazing.
Oh,
So, and
thanks.
Jodi, when that brings such an interesting point to my mind as well, too. I do hope that we move towards a culture where it doesn't have to be defined that, oh, you're Asian, so we're just going to have an Asian part. Like, I would love to see that, okay, there's a character and let's just see who's good at playing this character. Like, we don't need to necessarily define that character by the ethnicity, if that makes sense. And you've been an
Yeah.
actor for so
No.
long.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I've always, championed out there. Why can't I play that part, right? I remember years ago when LA Law was happening, and I knew the casting director. She was my understudy in a Broadway play, actually.
Wow.
And I said to my agent, I said, why don't they submit me for LA Law? Because I'd be perfect. How many Asian lawyers are there in Los Angeles, right? And we got the call back and they said no Asians.
They
And that,
actually said that?
yes, it was sad. Yeah. I was
Wow.
pretty devastated, but that's what I was up against those days, right? And that really didn't change on that show.
That's so unfortunate.
It
But,
is.
but I'm going to add to that. And I want to talk about your tenacity with that, especially when you endure situations like that, knowing that you're talented enough to be on a show like that or others. How have you, over these years, managed to just carry within yourself and have that confidence of knowing, I'm going to stay here, I'm here to stay, and this is what I want to do?
Well, I always knew that's what I do best and what I want to do or I love to do. Let's put it that way. Okay. I think for me, it's always been um, my determination and resilience is based on the fact that there's a lot of very talented actors in the world, a lot, right? And some are more lucky than others because of the way they look or how they present, et cetera, et cetera. But for me, I've always felt that I am so, everyone is unique, first of all. Everyone. Everyone has a story to tell. And as an actor, you have other people's words coming into you, but you still tell the story in a unique way. It's depending on how you interpret it, right?
Right.
And I've always felt that no, as there's good actors out there, but no one can tell the story like me because of
I
my
love that.
particular point of view, and that's what's going to come out in the portrayal of whatever part they're giving me or the story I'm going to be telling. So that's really, and every young actor that I speak to, I always say, just know that what you have inside of you, so that means all your experience with your family and in society and in life, that informs who you are as an actor, right?
Yeah.
And those stories, however they add up or don't, or whichever ones you let go of, because some of them you want to let go of it, right? Because it's impeding you from really creating really freely, all right? And that's the most important thing. And so that's always kept me going through all these years, that no one can tell the story like me. And if you're lucky enough to understand that and see that, then we get to play together.
Yes. I love that, Jodi. I really love that. Thank you for sharing that.
Oh, you're welcome.
I want to jump to your leadership real quick. Now, you've served as SAG-AFTRA's National Vice President of Los Angeles and SAG-AFTRA's Los Angeles Local President across 4 years, leading us through some of the most pivotal times in recent union history. A lot to talk about there, from historic strikes to groundbreaking AI negotiations. So, and now you're running for SAG-AFTRA's national board, which of course is no small task. What motivated you to step into that role now? And what are some of the core issues that you're fighting for in this election?
Well, I stepped down from being the Los Angeles local president. It's a lot of work, and we work for no pay. So, it's all service. So 4 years was a lot going through the strike, and all the other things that I do within the union. The reason I'm running for the national board is to continue some of the work that I did as the Los Angeles local president, and because I run certain committees within the union. So I do the self-tape. I help through with President Drescher start the National Self-Tape Task Force, because so many of during COVID, it was the Wild West, and so many of our members were just flailing because there weren't any barriers, not barriers, that's what do you call it? There weren't
Rest-
any, no, not
well, it was
restrictions.
hard, right? Not restrictions, but it was challenging
Well,
because not
because
everybody had access.
well, and it was also, there was no parameters. Like, they'd give you 10 pages to learn in a day. Well, you can't do that, right? So, it became 48 hours that you had, and it was, I think, to begin with, 6 pages. So for the first time audition. So, we just had to put parameters around what people could do, and have a weekend. So many people have children, and the children, they have to do their homework when they come back, and there's just so much stuff that people have because they have lives besides being an actor. So, doing that. And I've also been the chair of the TV, not just a TV theatrical, but the um, principal performers committee. As the people who, do certain kind of work. And so I think those are the contracts I work, and I have some knowledge about them and how we go about making things better for our members.
How about AI and how that's reshaping talent on camera, behind the scenes? What's at stake now if safeguards aren't put in?
Well, they are already put in as the AI continues to evolve, which it is going to be doing, right? And we know it.
Mhm.
There will be other safeguards that need to be put in, but we are tracking it with our partners who are our producers, right? We have meetings with them periodically to discuss what's happening, and so we can get a jump on it. I mean, the most important thing is that an AI cannot replace a human being, right? Whether it's an actor or if it's well, not a director, I guess maybe it can, but they haven't really gotten to that point yet. But as a writer, that is affecting the writers. So I think with this last negotiation, it just happened that I had been scanned for scan for a movie. This was before COVID, right? And I was on location with a movie, and I went to hair and makeup. I got down to Australia, and I had hair and makeup and all the stuff that you do. And then the next thing I knew, they asked me to go into this caged room, and I had every inch of my body photographed as it went around in a circle. And I was like, wait a second, guys, I don't remember seeing this in my contract. Oh, no, it's part of the thing. I was like, really? I couldn't call my agents because they were sleeping in America. And so I did it because I thought, okay, here I am, I better do it. And then I found out it wasn't in our contract.
How did you get out of that then?
I didn't get out of it. It happened. So in our negotiation, I didn't even realize this. I just happened to say one day in the room, I said, I got scanned and da 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 da. So what happened, the crazy part was I was the only one that had been scanned in the whole committee. So all of a sudden the staff was looking at me and saying, well, what do you, I said, well, my problem is, where's my scan now? Where's my scan, right? They did it.
Yeah.
Where is it? Is it in a vault somewhere? Did they destroy it? What's happening? And I said this in the room to the producers. I said, and so now, let's say in 10 years, you decide to do a prequel or a sequel of this movie, and I'm dead. Then what happens? And they didn't know. They were like, well, we never heard about this before. So
Great question.
that became a big thing. And the good thing was that now, if they do a scan, you have to get permission. They have to pay you
Okay.
for it. You have to pay you extra. You have to negotiate with your reps something else. And if you pass away and they decide they want to use your scan to create an AI generated image of you, they have to not only get your estate or your permission, right, if you're still alive, but if you're dead, obviously, and they have to negotiate a fee for that. And if they don't have an estate, they have to get permission from SAG-AFTRA.
Wow. This is crazy. And I'm so sorry that that happened to you. But in a way, I'm glad it brought it to light because now it's paved the way for so many people
Exactly.
that are SAG-AFTRA. And for people who are listening, I mean, I know when you think of actors and actresses, sometimes it's like, oh, those, the A-lister top tier, but SAG-AFTRA really is an organization that covers actors all across the board in so many different areas. And it's really important to understand that there's so much talent, throughout the United States that is affiliated with this organization. So,
And when you don't have the clout to negotiate that, then what happens? So that's why having these protections in place is helpful for the journeyman actor who may not be a name, may be working, but is not the name to pull the weight to say, well, wait a second, you now have to pay us X, right?
absolutely. Oh, it's so important. I come across this with voiceover, and I don't want to do AI voiceover. I think the lines have not been defined clearly there, and it's still going to take work in that arena. But thank you for sharing that. I think that's really important for people to know about. And I'm sorry about you having to go through that.
Well, I mean, it was, listen, if I didn't go through it, somebody else would have gone through it. They may not have been on the committee to speak to it,
Yes.
right? And so that's why it was just very fortuitous in that way. And I felt, look, there's going to be more to come because it's expanding, right?
It's
And
evolving, yeah.
it's evolving, and the better they get with the technology, it's going to be even worse. So we have to nip it in the bud. We have to get these protections now at each step of the way. That's the
Yes,
most important
yes.
thing.
Well, and I'm glad we have the committees and all you all looking out for that. On a fun note, because we've got just a few minutes here,
Yeah,
your one woman show, American Jade. It's
yeah.
about family history. It's about your personal journey. Was there an emotionally transformative moment for you as you've been sharing this story, or even through the creative process of it all?
Well, my family has so many stories that the process was hard because, the show has evolved over the 20 years that I've been doing it. So what I couldn't really speak about because my parents were still alive, I can speak
Oh,
about now, right?
interesting. Yeah.
And without them freaking out at me. and and yet there are other stories in it that were told from a younger point of view that are still relevant. So I'm actually right now putting together a film of the 20 years of the evolution of this show, and it's going to
Ooh.
be interesting to see what stays and what goes by the wayside. So I got a grant from Center for Asian American Media a couple of years ago when we did this at Bucks County. So that's the start, but there's 3 versions of this show.
Wow. Well, that sounds exciting. I'm sure a lot of inner growth through that process as
It
well,
is.
right? You know, that a lot of
Absolutely.
inner
But
growth
that's
there.
that's part of it's really about imprints. The original name of the show is called Surfing DNA. And it's the DNA. So that evolves, right? It's what we're born with. But then we have another imprint on us, which is from our parents, right? All the emotional imprints that come from our parents. And then there's the, imprint that we have from society, whether
So
you're a woman,
true.
you're a person of color, whatever it is, right? There's everyone's got their thing and their unconscious bias or their conscious bias
Yeah,
regarding you or in society. So those are the things that we have to come away with, and then either let them crush us or just go, yeah, well, so what?
exactly. Exactly. Yeah, it just makes us who we are. Quick question for you as we
Yeah.
wrap up. What are your thoughts on ageism in Hollywood? and how it's evolving.
I think it's changing. I mean, you see a
Me
lot of
too.
the movie stars. I mean, like Jane Fonda, and I think it was, who's that other gal? I can't think of her name right now. Jamie Lee Curtis. They all have their white hair, and
They own it.
and they're owning it, right? And I think that's okay. I mean,
Yeah.
it's still there because
Yeah.
unfortunately, it's become more of a mixed, the producers, right? It's more women producers, more directors, but you don't see it as much in the shows that are on television, yes, but not so much in movies, right? It's still not as equal. So I'm just hoping that the more women voices that we have, and that's why I so support all women in every aspect of leadership.
Me too. Me
I
too. I'm
do.
so with you on that.
It's a better world.
Yeah.
During the strike, it was Fran Drescher, myself, Linda Powell from New York, and oh God, I can't think of his name right now. He's going to kill me. A gentleman from Boston, Tom Kemp. And so anyway, and we had two male lawyers, but the predominant energy in the room was female. And I think that was really helpful to these negotiations. And Fran was quite brilliant in that. And I do have a lot of kudos for her in my heart, because that wouldn't have happened in a male-run negotiation.
I completely agree with you. Yeah, I do. So no, it's great. So thank you for your leadership, and thank you for being out there and voicing. Where can people find you on social media or learn about your work?
XO, like a kiss and a hug, Jodi Long. You see that on Instagram. I'm on Sky, whatever it's called, Blue Sky. And I'm on Twitter, but I don't really go there so much because there's so much fake news. I'm just like, what's
I
happening here?
know.
I can't handle it. So, but every once in a while I'll do something. And then of course on Facebook, it's just Jodi Long. So
Okay,
yeah. I
great.
can send
We
that
can
to you. I
find.
think they asked me for that somewhere, but I didn't
Okay,
send it.
awesome. So yeah, no, send that, and then of course we wanted to share it here. All right, I'm going to do a quick because I'm over time here, but I think this would be the fun lightning round that you would
Oh,
enjoy.
okay.
And these are just whatever comes to mind. So no long things, just very quick 10
Okay.
second things.
Okay.
All right, Jodi Long, lightning round, rice or noodles?
Noodles.
If you weren't an actress, what would you be?
An actor.
Nice. Nice. You've got 30 seconds to go back in time and give your younger self advice. What would you say to her?
Oh gosh. Buy that Jean-Michel Basquiat painting that you didn't buy for
Oh,
$800. I couldn't afford it. Can you bear it? Many, many years ago.
oh. Three things you absolutely must have every day. There are no exceptions.
Swimming in the ocean, body surfing. Not that I
And
have
one
it, but
and one more thing. Three things.
oh, what?
So three things you absolutely must have every day. So you
Oh,
said
three
swimming in the
things?
ocean. Hmm.
Oh, I don't know. Uh, green tea, matcha, and I don't know the other thing. The love of my dog and the people that I love
Now
every
you're
day.
hosting a now you're hosting a dream dinner party with any historical or fictional character. Who's coming and what's one thing on that menu?
Oh, gosh. Uh, um, I'd really like to meet the Queen of Hawaii.
Ooh.
Lily, I can't remember her name. All the Hawaiian people will be very upset with me. Something Okalani, Lily Okalani, something like that. And she was the only woman, queen, obviously. And she had to give up her, anyway, so I'd probably serve her some really great pork because that's what they like. Not that I eat pork, but that's what I would do. And it's the one with the crispy skin, you know.
Oh, how thoughtful of you. You're like, I don't eat it, but I'll serve
I
it
don't
to
eat it.
her.
But can you imagine being a woman and the white people coming over and said, we want your land, your islands. And she gave it up because she didn't want bloodshed.
No, I mean, and it's shame on me too. I didn't know the name. I was born in Hawaii as well, in Oahu. So I should I should know as well. But I can't even imagine that feeling because there's just so much history there and so much connection to the spirituality and to the
Absolutely. The
natives.
land.
Yeah, the land.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's just too much there. Jodi, it has been such a pleasure speaking with you.
Same
Thank you
here.
for making the time today and just learning more about you and your journey and how you continue to pave the way forward. I mean, it definitely, you have a very, very strong legacy. So thank you for joining us here today.
Thanks so much. Good to see you and speak with you.
Oh, same here, same here. And I'd also like to thank all of you, our valued listeners, for joining us. And if you have any suggestions or thoughts, please do let us know. And don't forget to subscribe to our program on your favorite podcast platform. And you can follow us on Facebook, X, Instagram, and of course, our YouTube channel. A friendly reminder that Asian Pacific Voices Radio is produced by Asian Culture and Media Alliance, a nonprofit group that empowers Asian Pacific American communities with a voice through the media arts. So if you'd like to support us, please do visit us at acmasocal.org. Once again, I'm your host, Rasha Goel. Thank you so much for joining me. And don't forget to join us again next week for another Asian Pacific Voices Radio. Till then, have a wonderful week.